It's 3 in the morning and nothing woke you. No sound, no bad dream, no alarm. Just your eyes open in the dark and a thought already sitting there waiting. And it's never a kind thought. It's the message you didn't send, or the task you left unfinished, or the conversation that ended wrong. You're safe, you're warm, you have nowhere to be for hours. So why is your own brain doing this to you? You lie there and you try the usual tricks. You roll over, you tell yourself it can wait until morning, you try to think about anything else. And still it sits there, patient, refusing to move. Most people blame the obvious things. Too much stress, too much screen time, a body that just sleeps badly. And yes, your body does stir on its own in the night, and that part is normal. But that doesn't explain the thought. It doesn't explain why, out of everything in your life, your brain reaches for the one thing you didn't finish. Not the 10 things you got done today. The one you didn't. Here's the strange part. Your brain files a finished task and a half-finished task in two completely different ways. One of them it lets go. The other it keeps running quietly in the background until it gets what it wants. To understand why, we have to go back to a cafe in Berlin in 1927. A young psychologist named Bluma Zygarnik was sitting with her professor, Kurt Lewin, when they noticed something odd about the waiter. He could remember every order at every table perfectly, no matter how complex, as long as the bill was still unpaid. But the moment a table paid and left, the order vanished from his mind. It was as if his memory only held on to what was still open. Zygarnik took that question into the lab. She gave people a series of small tasks, around 20 of them, puzzles and simple crafts and little problems to solve. She let them finish some and she interrupted the rest partway through, pulling the work away before it was done. Later she asked them what they remembered. When she counted, the interrupted tasks came back to mind about twice as often as the ones they had finished. The unfinished work had stuck. The finished work had simply faded. Lewin had an explanation. The moment you start something, your mind wraps a kind of tension around it, a small pull that keeps the task active and near the surface of your mind. Finish the task and the tension releases. Leave it open and the tension stays. Think of it like a browser tab you never closed. It's still there, still using power, still running underneath everything else you do. Your brain treats an unfinished task as a problem it hasn't solved yet, and it will not let that problem go quiet. And this is the key to your 3 in the morning. Decades later, two researchers named Masacampo and Baumeister showed that an unfinished goal doesn't just sit there politely. It actively pulls at your attention. In their experiments, people who were asked to hold an unfinished task in mind did measurably worse on a completely unrelated one right after. The loop wasn't only a feeling. It was pulling real resources away from everything else you were trying to do. During the day, you can drown it out. There's noise, there's motion, there are 100 other things pulling at your focus. But at night, all of that goes quiet. The distractions fall away. And the open loop, the one that was there the whole time, finally has the stage to itself. But here's where the story turns. For almost 100 years, this was the accepted answer. You remember unfinished things better, and that was that. Except when researchers recently gathered all the studies together in a large review in 2025, the famous memory effect barely held up. Task after task, the supposed advantage kept shrinking. The idea that you simply remember unfinished work better may not be true the way we've been told for a century. And yet you still wake at 3 in the morning. So if it isn't really about memory, then what is it? The answer is the part of the story almost no one talks about. A colleague of Zygarnik, a researcher named Maria Ovsyankina, found something different. It wasn't that people remembered interrupted tasks better. It was that they felt a pull to go back and finish them. Given a free moment, they returned to the unfinished task on their own, without being asked. That's the piece that survived the scrutiny. Not a better memory, but a compulsion to resume. Your brain doesn't wake you to help you remember the thing. It wakes you because the thing is still open, and an open loop creates pull, not memory. That single shift changes how you treat it. You're not fighting a broken memory. You're holding an intention that hasn't been allowed to close. Once you see it, you notice it everywhere. The unsent message that sits in your chest. The half-written thing you keep circling. The decision you keep almost making. Every unread notification is a tiny open loop, tugging at you to resolve it. And when too many loops pile up at once, dozens of them all open, the pull doesn't sharpen. It turns to noise. Your mind stops flagging any single one and just hums with a low, constant restlessness you can't quite name. But here's the part that can actually give your nights back. You don't have to finish the task to make the pull stop. You just have to convince your brain that it's handled. Write down the single next step. Not the whole plan, just the next move and when you'll do it. In studies, that one small act quieted the nagging thoughts almost as well as finishing the task itself. The loop doesn't need to be closed. It just needs to feel handed off. So the next time you wake in the dark and the thought is already there waiting, you'll know what it is. It isn't a malfunction. It isn't your brain betraying you. It's an unfinished piece of your life asking to be finished. Some of those loops truly deserve your time. And some of them you're allowed to let go of, to decide that an old promise no longer fits and release it on purpose. Your brain will hold every open loop faithfully. It won't decide which ones still matter. That part is up to you. So lying there at 3 in the morning, the real question was never why you're awake. It's which of these open loops still deserve to keep you up.